Essential shares uplifting stories and conversations with people making Johannesburg and the world a better place.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And on this episode of the Social Impact Show, I chat to Seati Moloi, the visionary behind Khoi Tech, the Soweto-based startup making global waves. Fresh off their headline making appearance at London Tech Week, Khoi Tech is redefining what African innovation looks like, one smart device at a time. So from smart watches with real-time health tracking to AI-powered wellness platforms, this gentleman is proving that township-born tech can compete and lead on the global stage. Seati, good morning and thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah, what an amazing story. I can't even begin to wrap my head around how you have an idea to start a tech monster in Soweto, and then you end up on London's tech stage. I mean, that's not an easy journey from Soweto to London. Take me through that a little bit.
Thank you very much. I suppose it's all by grace. It's a validation of the hard work that we've put into creating this monstrous ambition that we have. We are from Soweto. The company is called Khoi Tech, P2 Ltd, a properly registered entity. My personal background is in information technology. I'm a software developer by profession.
You do look like a nerd. You look like a technical nerd. You look like somebody who looks at something and wants to pull it apart.
Yeah, that's what we used to do growing up, actually, in the dusty street of Soweto. So we used to, break up radios, wanted to see what's inside, all the curiosity. Started making computers at a very early age through components. And self-taught programmer. Yeah. I used to love video games, and my mom bought me, one of those old computers where you can play games instead of going to the corner shop. Yeah. But fortunately,
so back then it was what? It was like Tetris, and it was this
Tetris and Rally X and Pac-Man
and all of that games.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the curiosity of being addicted to these games and like, no, I can create this thing. All right, I want to learn how to create these things. And my mom was visionary, and she bought me a computer at a very early age in Soweto, and not only did I play games, but I taught myself how to program, because the love for playing games propelled one to say, can I create my own games? So, started writing storyboards, having that vision to say, hey, these things are not difficult to do, you just need to learn. So,
what year is this, Seati?
She was. I'll give away my age, but that was in the 80s in Soweto.
Okay. So this is before anybody else is even thinking about. I mean, how big was your friendship circle? How many of you were breaking up computers, playing computers, thinking about building your own thing?
It was a friend of mine, me and Justice, very group, about four.
Four,
four of us, very, very loving computers and games and wanting to create this thing. You find each other. So we had a small computer club where, we said it's not just about loving how to learn, but can we make these things? And going to Randburg, finding an electronic shop that will sell motherboards, and will sell buy motherboards, get DOS software.
Yeah.
Word perfect, in floppies, and put up this PC, program it with basic applications. And at a cost about 600 rands back then.
It was a fortune.
And easily set it off for about 5,000 rands.
Wow.
And that was a hobby.
And how old were you then?
We were in our early teens, just before 20.
So you were kind of refurbishing computers, and then the markup value.
Yeah, we were not refurbishing. We were buying components.
Okay, and then building it.
And building it from scratch.
Wow.
Motherboards, control panels, having a screen that is black and white or green and white. But the fascination of having to create something sort of gave you that satisfaction to say, oh, I've created something, It was not so difficult, because of our love of electronics. But it was self-taught.
That's amazing. I love it when you say it wasn't that difficult, because most people go, huh? What's this man talking about? So this love then for electronics, for building things.
Yeah.
What does that look like between Seati Moloi, now the CEO of Khoi Tech, because there must have been a journey in between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or was it just we were building, we were selling them for 5,000, and then it morphed into a business, or what happened in between? When did that become I can make a living off this, and I will never have to work again because this is now my passion?
So one had to go to school, even though it was a passion, and one had to do computer science at school. Is the route that one was following.
Yeah.
I had a computer whilst I was at high school, so we started building things whilst we were still in high school.
Shout out to your mom, by the way.
Absolutely, visionary, and because she knew that I loved these things, and it was not just about buying toys.
600 rand was a lot of money, eh?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yeah. But it didn't start as a business. It was a hobby.
Yeah.
And then later we said, we can make a business of this. But I remember after completing a tertiary, I studied at Pentec and did computer programming then. It was not necessarily a degree, but a diploma back then.
Yeah.
And I did computer science. We learned COBOL. And by then we had, the momentum of building computers and selling was high, and we were making money. So I remember I didn't want to go to work. I wanted to go into. My mom said,
"You look so naughty when you're telling this story." You know that? I think you were a bit of a naughty guy when you were like that. I wish our listeners could see. Well, they will, because we're recording it. But I want them to look at your face when you tell the story. Yeah, you were saying?
So I had to work whether I wanted it or not.
Yeah.
It's like so I completed my diploma. We were selling computers.
Yeah.
My friend and I, Justice Sikludi, and I got offered a work at FNB as a programmer, and I did not want to work. And I had a parent who said, "This is not negotiable. You're going to work, or otherwise you get out of my house."
It was that kind of
yeah. But in hindsight, it was me going into the corporate world to learn. Understanding how things work, because I was very young. And I worked there for about 2 years.
How old are you now?
I'm 54.
No, I mean back then.
Back then, I was in the early 20s.
Okay, it was early 20s.
Early
because you
20s.
said you were young. Yeah?
Yes, I was still very young. And yeah, so I worked as a software developer, and for me it was pretty easy getting in there, and because I had already taught myself how to do software development. We were then affirmative action candidates. In those days, there are certain careers that were limited to certain races. So when you got in there, it was, okay, we are going to have a group of techies learning how to, propelling them into this field. But when we got there, we excelled because it's something that we loved, but we
cultivated over years of just doing it.
Absolutely. But as entrepreneurs and innovators, we're quickly bored from doing same thing over and over again.
Because corporate is kind of rigid, and it's very programmatic,
But then there were also quite a number of obstacles, whereby never mind how intelligent you are, there are certain obstacles that you had to overcome, and you get frustrated by all these things. So back to business, where one quickly went back to Soweto.
So you resigned?
I resigned out of my mom's wish. She was very pissed off.
Okay.
She wanted to disown me.
Because you had the certainty of a job.
Yeah.
And now you're going to the uncertainty of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. And that's what she was saying. Do you know the benefits of working for a bank? You're going to get this and this and this. I said, Mom, I've got my own dreams. Yeah, my late mom, shout out to her. So, so we started this PC company in Soweto, and the aim was to build PCs.
You and who?
Justice Sikludi and Sapontilani.
Okay. Yeah. These are your friends from earlier on?
These are my friends from earlier on, where we used to mess up. Yeah. So we said, guys, we need to do this because there's a gap, there's a need. And we got a lot of people coming to us to say, hey, teach us, or my computer's broken, or can you teach my kids to do this? Because people knew that we loved computers. So we formed a company, we called it SMN Computers. And the sole aim was to build PCs and sell them. Teach people how, and maintenance. But then we also quickly went into the business side of it in terms of selling to shop owners. We built a point of sale systems. It was a computer that had an application to help shop owners to run their stock, because they were mostly reliant on cash registers, and majority of them had a problem with stock control. So we sold a computer that has a software for stock control, cash flow control, etc. It was a big hit as well, because there was a huge gap, especially in the townships, where we made a killing in terms of selling not only in Soweto but surrounding townships, Kagiso, Sebokeng, because a lot of...
And you were almost pioneers, right? Because, I mean, at that point, the traditional guys weren't coming into townships, right?
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Everyone
now
was
they flooded all over townships.
Yeah.
But back then, you were venturing into townships.
Absolutely.
To kind of sell the kind of technology that other businesses outside townships had.
Yes. They were terrified by coming to the townships, but we saw a gap. I suppose there was a bit of entrepreneurship where we said there's a gap, there's a need.
Yeah.
You get business owners that are running stock that are getting gray hairs out of losing stock and not knowing what is happening to their stock. So we gave them a solution. They loved it. Our profit margins were very high. We loved it. And we ran that for a number of years. And so it was a combination of PCs, sales, repairs, as well as point-of-sale systems. But the point-of-sale system was made up of actually of a PC and a software. Yeah. So that's how we started in Soweto, and we were rolling, and we were quite young, very wet behind the ears. But what I loved is that we also educated ourselves. I remember we used to attend night schools where we did business courses. So as a software developer with no experience whatsoever, we sort of had to take a decision to say, guys, even if the money is rolling, let's go to school and learn the basics, learn accounting, learn that thing. So we attended night schools at Tamelin back in the days, and we did it, one of those.
So you took this very seriously.
Too hard.
Quite early on. So you then have this business, the money is rolling in. Most people would have found a comfort zone and just go, well, there's no struggle here. The money's coming in. We've got to supply a steady stream of clients. But then you went one step further, and at which point did Khoi Tech come into your mind?
So fast forward to that, we were picked up by IBM to do website development, because that's when the websites were coming in. Yeah. And for us it was
so now we're talking 2019, end of 99?
End of early 2000s.
Early 2000s, 2001, 2002. Yeah.
So IBM actually came knocking to our offices in Soweto to say, hey guys, we've learned about you, what you're doing, and we want to train you guys about software, specifically website development. Yeah. We learned how to develop software websites, and we added it as a feature, or rather as an offering. It was quite fascinating for us, because we knew back then that the world will be dependent on websites, online environment. So we built that, but we were quite early.
You were just ahead of the curve.
Not even a single government department had a website. And when we approached them, it was like, nah, we can't have these things. None of the soccer teams had a website. I remember we approached all of them, And so we spent quite a lot of money, because we trained, we got a massive sales team.
Because this is the future.
This is the future. We saw it.
People are not seeing it.
So we spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I remember we were at some stage minus 300,000 rands in the red.
Yo.
So we had to close the company.
Wow.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And we were not reckless per se. I think it was us betting too early, slightly early off the curve. And we invested quite a lot.
The market wasn't ready for it.
Not at all. Now, if you look at it, who doesn't have a website? Which entity doesn't have a website?
And in actual fact, if you don't have a website today, you're not credible. People actually, if they can't find you online, they think you're a scam. Yeah.
You're dead. You are dead. So we spent a lot of money and had to close the business. And fast forward, I formed another company called Biza Telecoms. The fascination.
Same group?
No, different group.
Okay.
So we split up. Some other guys went back to work. I remember a friend of mine went back to teaching. Another one guy went back to corporate.
But the entrepreneurship bug in you was there.
It was always biting, So we started playing around with mobile applications. One of the first applications that we did actually was an SMS-based application, because we saw the shift from PCs towards mobile. And we said that we needed to build applications that resides on the phone. And the first application that we actually built was an SMS-based application, which was a dictionary. So, strange enough, because I loved reading, I built an application called SMS Dictionary, where you can easily SMS a word and get back a definition. But at the back end, it was called...
This is crazy, right? This is crazy.
This was before Google.
Wow.
Because
I think you're going to have a fascinating autobiography when you decide to write.
Is it? Yeah.
I think it's going to be an interesting autobiography.
Absolutely.
Like how you've kind of built systems.
Yeah. So that was our venture into mobile applications, because the thinking was that the future is in mobile versus traditional web. So we built an SMS application. It was followed by some USSD application. We partnered with SABC Education. They loved it. They thought it was innovative. I had a patent actually for that SMS-based dictionary. It was called Moby, and SABC invested quite a lot in promoting that. As expensive as it was, we had about 100,000 users.
Wow.
Who used our service just to get a definition of a word via SMS. And weird enough, a lot of academics used it. Because whenever we were offline or had any issues, we would get calls from academics. Where's Moby Dick? We want to use Moby Dick, And it was quite fascinating for us.
And let's not forget that Captain Ahab in the actual book Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Yes. There's this beautiful book called Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Actually.
Fast forward, we did
was that the inspiration for the name? Because it's mobile dictionary.
Yeah, it's mobile exactly.
Yeah, but I mean the fact that it's a play on this iconic book Moby Dick.
Exactly.
With Captain Ahab. Yeah, anyway.
Fast forward, we built a social media platform. Yeah. So after Chomi, we did some other mobile applications. A friend of mine, Justice, did a mobile application for JMPD that helped JMPD to be able to track traffic offenders using a mobile phone. Quite a hit. It made traffic officers to improve their work efficiency. So we took those lessons and built something new. But there was something that was coming up, which was social media platforms. Yeah. We learned about it earlier. There was a Facebook coming in. There was a QQ in the East. I remember I was in China and I was quite fascinated by how Chinese were glued to their mobile phones. And then when we asked them, they said, "No, we are chatting. We're using these things." When I came back home, we launched a service. We called it Chomi. It was a mobile chat platform.
I think I remember Chomi.
Yes, it was a mobile chat platform. It started as a group of people coming together because back in those days we used to have rooms where people can chat rooms where people can come in to chat. So we built that. We called it Chomi, but our differentiator was language. So we called it Chomi because it was a platform for friends to interact through. Yes. And we built it
How old is Facebook at this point? When
Facebook was 2 years old, 3 years old.
So this was in the very early days.
Very early stages. Yeah. Because the Chinese were developing their own social platforms. Eastern Europe had theirs as well. America was dominant with Facebook, then there was Twitter, then etc. But for us it was, why are we not developing something as Africa? Localized. So that's when we built Chomi. And it was a chat platform initially, and the differentiator was language. The interface came in all South African languages, so you could use it in Zulu, Xhosa, whatever language on African spare you. That was easy because it was just taking an interface and translating it. But to a lot of people, it was like, oh, wow.
But it is unusual, though.
Yeah.
For you guys, it's ordinary.
It's ordinary because we're multilingual. Yeah.
For everybody else, it was like, wow.
Yes.
And also for that innovation to come out of South Africa at that time.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, I remember it was a big thing. So all of this, then you end up on the London stages. What was that experience like? Was there a moment where, I mean, we'll talk about some of the offerings in Khoi, but you're standing on stage, you're now being recognized. This is from Soweto to London.
Yeah.
Tell me what that moment was like, walking into that arena.
So how long do we have?
We've got another 13 minutes.
13 minutes. So after Chomi, we built Chomi, it became very successful. We had about over 1 million people using it, not only here in South Africa, but throughout the continent.
Oh, wow.
We also had users in Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Brazil, because it was a social media platform. Yeah. And I think people that did not like using Western platforms, they felt very comfortable using our platform. We grew up, we partnered with Vodacom. It propelled our growth. We had a data. So people who are using our platform were not charged data fees.
Okay, and so it was zero rated.
Zero rated. Yeah. And we could charge nominal fees, like people could pay as little as 90 cents per day to use it. Okay. Then the model with the network is that they'll give you half of whatever. Yeah. So we created good revenue. At some stage we were generating almost 500,000 a month from the 50 cents. Wow. We had a SMS version. We had a USSD version. We had the biggest users from the rural areas who used it as a chat platform.
Oh, wow.
Because then SMS was quite expensive. You used to pay 60 cents a month. So fast forward, Chomi, we went to MTN. We said, MTN, this can be huge in the continent. And they loved it. They threatened to buy it. And then in our lingo, we say they sent us a please call me. So yeah, they took it over, rebranded it, and launched it as something else. Closed that shop. We launched Khoi as a consumer electronic company. The fascination was with consumer electronics.
Yeah.
Because I've been a tech person throughout my life, and I've owned gadgets. And the frustration had always been, why is it that we are not producing gadgets that we use on a daily basis as a country, as a continent?
So we're not manufacturers.
We are not manufacturing. We were studying how Apple were doing their things. We knew exactly their business model. We knew exactly where they were manufacturing the platform. We followed that model to create Khoi. We had wanted to start with wireless earphones. Because the data that was coming out, Apple was, even today, their revenue, it's what, quarter of their sales comes from their wireless earphones.
Oh, wow.
And what is the stats? It's about 250 billion rands per annum just on wireless earphones. And a chunk of that money is coming from the continent. We said, what? Hang on, we can do these things, not difficult. So we went on wanting to do these things, and we said, we'll create our own brand. Then that's how Khoi was born, with the aim of creating consumer electronics. We excluded cell phones deliberately because the penetration was very, very high. But on wearable tech, whether you're a smartphone or smart glasses or wireless earphones, the penetration was very low. So there's a room for growth. We saw a gap. So that's how it came. But around 2019, we then decided to start with a smartwatch because of COVID and the need to have a gadget that will help people with health data. And
I'm looking at you wearing one.
I'm wearing one.
And the face is big and beautiful, which is really lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. And what fascinated me about this prospect was the health data that is coming from the smartwatch. Because when you're wearing it, it can measure your heart rate, your body temperature, SpO2. And we said, hang on, there's a value in this thing in terms of not just using it for exercising, but using it as a health tool. So we started playing around with it. But I think it was also because of COVID, where we said, we're going to shelve manufacturing of wireless earphones and focus on smartwatches. So we did that. We quickly learned that we couldn't do everything at home. We had to use contract manufacturers from the East in Shenzhen, where everyone manufactures. Shenzhen.
Yeah, everybody.
Shenzhen.
All of them, all the big brands.
All the big brands. Samsung,
we saw that
Apple.
now with the tariff war.
Yeah.
And they started exposing all the brands.
Exactly.
Even the famous handbags are produced there.
Exactly. But from an electronics point of view, so California is strong with software, but the East, they are very strong with the gadgets, the hardware itself. And we manufacture in the same city that Apple, Samsung, they manufacture. That's in Shenzhen, in the East. And they use a model that called contract manufacturing. So your IP, like our IP is registered, everything is registered here at home. We will go there and say, I want a device that does A, B, C, D, E, F. They will design it. So we get the gadgets from there, we register it here at home, we take it to ICASA, they will test and certify and say, test here, change here. Then we got the certificate from ICASA. We started building software around it because it's software controlled. There's an individual app that a person will use. But where there was a gap, we found that there's no corporate app. So we wanted to provide a service that not only individuals will buy for their health and sports needs, but also corporates can use for various reasons. And that's what made us to be...
It's called the Khoi AfriWatch, right?
The device itself is called Khoi AfriWatch 1. It's a health and fitness smartwatch. And it caters for 3 categories, being sports. Whatever exercise that you do, it will collect that data and give you reports. But most importantly is the health data. So when you are wearing it, it uses back sensors to measure your heart rate, your body temperature. It has a built-in thermometer, your SpO2, the level of oxygen in your body, your movement, whatever movement that you do, it measures it. You sleep with it, it will give you a detailed report about your sleeping patterns, your stress level, exactly. So when we interacted with doctors said, this is the data that we need.
And it's being used by hospitals and universities now.
Yes.
Wow, that must be so amazing. But it's so quickly, it's the watch. What else is in the Khoi ecosystem?
So is the watch itself?
Yes.
The software offering is quite important because then we sell it to corporates as for employee wellness, for doctors to be able for data analytics. So doctors are using it to be able to do things like patients' remote care. So they give their patients our devices. We give them a platform. that enables them to monitor their patients remotely and get alarms. If, for instance, you are a patient and you are sitting at home and you get complications, let's say you develop a fever on a regular heart rate that might lead to a potential heart attack. The system will know because your heart rate will start beating irregularly or your body temperature will shoot right up. To doctors, that is golden data. And those are the ones that said to us, there's value in this because it makes our lives much easier in terms of us being able to, for instance, offer our patients the ability to be monitored at home remotely. And this is what we focused on. We quickly learned that we are not in the device business. We are in the data business. And we started building corporate application that manages multiple devices simultaneously. So you can have a group of people that doctors are managing their health remotely.
Like a Siri almost.
Yeah, more than a Siri.
Like an Alexa.
Like an Alexa, because then you have to have a device. And we call it a SaaS platform, software as a service. But our differentiator is that ours, it's also integrates devices. We use our watches, but there's also other medical devices that can be used, whether it's a cuff for BP, whether it's a glucometer for people that have diabetes. As long as you are able to get your data in our platform, we can provide all those services. So we build that. So that's what attracted the guys at London to say, hang on, these techies can think. Come here, let's talk. So, yeah, that's what got us to be nominated as one of the three companies.
And what was that moment like?
It was amazing. It was my first time in the UK. For us, it was a validation of the hard work that has gone through. But I must also say, a great thank you to Telkom, because we were granted about R500,000 by Telkom as part of the ESD program. That helped us quite a lot to be able to develop some of this software as well as the applications that we've built. And it was like a seed capital that we needed to grow the business. So being in London, and those guys are quite fascinated by the fact that we are building applications that are suited for the continent. Being behind in terms of tech as the continent has its own advantages, because we can learn from the best and implement here at home. But because we also don't have resources, we don't have enough hospitals, which is a challenge, but technology can be a filling gap. So instead of people...
And that actually brings you much closer to the rest of the world, because you're using, so for example, in Kenya, the M-Pesa. The M-Pesa's leapfrog so many different challenges that other countries struggle with. And just because of that innovation, I mean, it's been a game changer.
It is, and worth billions of rands. So, that's our focus in the health tech space, and that's our focus.
As we wrap up, Seati, where can people get hold of it? Is the devices, the data, is it accessible to the public en masse? Where can they go?
No, the data, remember, we can make people's data available.
Not available. But I mean in terms of the wearables.
The wearables are available. We've got our own online platform, www.khoi.store or www.khoi.africa. We are also on the macro platform. We are at Telkom stores. We are on the Police South Africa stores, online stores as well. Physically, we are working with quite a number of chain stores in Soweto. We are some shops in Maponya Mall, but mostly we sell through online. Majority of our sales are from corporates. The likes of Telkom will buy in bulks and distribute to their stores. But the corporates, for corporate offering, is through our website, like I said, www.khoi.africa. Where they can have a look at what we do. We are present on social media platforms. We are it's called @khoi.africa, where you can learn more about us. Please follow our social media handles on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we are.
That's amazing. Seati, really, really, really appreciate you coming in studio and talking to us about this South African story. What a marvel. Please go and check it out. I've seen the watches. It looks absolutely beautiful. Go and check it out. Go to their platforms. And the whole idea of the show is to get South Africans to support local business. Go and support the business. It's KHOI.Africa. Go and check out the platform, and let's make sure that we support this local business so they can employ more people and put us even further on the map. Thank you for coming in.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Feel the joy. 919.